people have probably had the thought where they think to themselves, what if I am the only truly conscious person and everyone else is basically just NPCs? And it's a good question because we still don't really know. Our understanding of what consciousness is actually very minimal. Could the human experience, where we make music and write books and fly to the moon and ask these questions about our own brains, really just be an arrangement of atoms? Which is where Donald Hoffman's theory comes in. About a third of our brain's cortex is involved with vision. And right now, as you stare at the screen, billions and trillions of neurons and synapses are engaged, but only about 130 million of those are photoreceptors. The rest of them are actively trying to create what you perceive to be in front of you based on the information that your brain has. And the key word here is that it's creating, which leads him to believe that consciousness might be the one true fundamental force of the universe, which he said would explain the bizarre nature of quantum physics, where particles will literally change their form based on whether or not they're being observed. He also says that this would explain the fine-tuning problem, where our universe is seemingly fine-tuned to support life, and it would be if consciousness was as fundamental to the universe as space and time itself.
There's a book that's banned by the church, and it says there are 3 kinds of humans, and which one you are indicates how close you are to escaping the material world. First up, we have the Hylics, or the material humans. These kinds of humans are obsessed with the physical world and the here and now. According to the Tripartite Tractate, these kinds of people are going to return to the physical world again and again in the cycle of reincarnation. The second kind are called the psychics, and not psychics like reading minds or predicting the future, but as in thinkers, people who think about themselves and existence. They're on the fence, caught between the physical world and something more. Third, we have the pneumatics, or the soul seekers. These are the kinds of humans who are connected to the spiritual and the divine, always looking for deeper meaning and cosmic truths. They see past the illusion of the material world, and their souls are on the way to liberation. The big question is, which one are you? There's a book that's...
Which one are you? I think I don't know. I would say psychic. I don't know. Hold on. What was the last one?
Cosmic truths. They see past the illusion of the soul seekers. These are the kinds of humans who are connected to the spiritual and the divine, always looking for deeper meaning and cosmic truths. They see past the illusion of the material world.
I think I'm a soul seeker.
So I don't wanna die young, I just wanna get... So I don't wanna die young.
What do you think of Jesus?
There's a lot of people that believe that there was this very exceptional human being that existed. What does that mean? Is he the Son of God? Well, are we all? Do we all have that inside of us? Was he an actual person that was the Son of God? I know a lot of Christians are hardcore Christians. They're some of the nicest people you'll ever meet in your life. So it does work, but you have to submit to this concept that this guy was the child of God who came down to earth, let himself be crucified, came back from the dead, explained a bunch of stuff for people, and then said, see you when I come back.
What do you think of Jesus?
There's a lot of...
What are y'all thoughts?
Sitting next to you. After all I said, we don't fall. But you will sitting next to you. After all I said, we don't fall. But you will
That was dope. That was dope. I really like that.
Joe Rogan recently talked about atheism and specifically Jesus. Check this out.
But don't you think there has to be some sort of field of value that can orient people into like these things actually matter? There is right and wrong. There is morality. There is certain
Well, unfortunately, the problem with living in a secular society and living in a society that has a lot of people that are atheists, that have no belief system at all, is you find a belief system. And that's a lot of these people that call themselves atheists, or they've subscribed to the religion of woke. And unfortunately, a lot of very intelligent people dismiss all of the positive aspects of religion because they think that the stories are mere superstitious fairy tales, that, you know, they have no place in this modern world, and, you know, we're inherently good and your ethics are based on your old moral compass and we all have one. And that's not necessarily true. We need Jesus. I think, for real.
Joe Rogan recently.
I never really cared for Joe Rogan. Not that I didn't like him, I just never was like a fan. But I'm just starting to love him more and more. Like I am. I was starting to really like him.
I've never read where Jesus said, "I am God." I've never seen that.
You're right. Jesus never says, "I am God." Instead, in John 8:58, Jesus says, "Before Abraham was born, I am." The Jewish people who are listening pick up stones to stone him. Why? Because they understood. Yahweh, their name for God, I am who I am. Jesus applied it to himself, and they were going to stone him for blasphemy. And Jesus didn't say, "Time out, you misunderstood. Drop your stones." No, Jesus stood by his claim. Before Abraham was born, I am.
I've heard that debate often. Okay, so let me know in the comments. Do you believe that when Jesus said "I am," that he was saying "I am God," or "I am who I am before creation," or he's just the Son of God? Let me know your comments. Let me know your thoughts.
Her car lost grip of the road, and she began spiraling on the freshly wet pavement. As she lost complete control over her car, something strange began to happen. It was almost like time itself began to warp, and she was processing everything in slow motion. The Matrix effect is a commonly reported phenomenon of people who have survived extremely dangerous situations. When the brain realizes that it is in a potentially life-threatening situation, it begins to process information differently. It floods your body with adrenaline as the portion of your brain responsible for fear and survival is activated. This boosts attention and reaction speed, allowing you to notice more details of everything happening around you. Meanwhile, your brain that typically filters out billions of bits of unnecessary sensory information every second is now trying to record as much detail as possible to improve survival chances in the future. And because of this, when you look back and can remember it in so much detail, it seems like the event lasted longer than it actually was.
In this iconic scene from The Matrix, there's a hidden detail that will give you chills. When you notice Neo's passport, the expiration date is September 11, 2001.
You have a social security number, you pay your taxes, and you help your landlady carry out her garbage.
That's right, The Matrix was released in '99, and it appeared to foreshadow one of the most significant events in modern history. This was just an eerie coincidence, but it adds an unsettling layer to the film's exploration of reality and control. In this iconic...
The Matrix doesn't want you to hear this. It wants you distracted, trapped in fear, controlled by doubt, programmed to believe you're powerless. But it's already too late.
In this iconic scene from
The Matrix doesn't want you to hear this. It wants you distracted, trapped in fear, controlled by doubt, programmed to believe you're powerless. But it's already too late, because you're waking up. Say this out loud and claim it. I am untouchable. No force can block what's meant for me. Every limitation placed upon me is shattered. I am divinely protected, guided, and unstoppable. The truth is my weapon, and my reality bends in my favor. The system thrives when you stay silent, but your voice is a frequency that breaks the code. Comment the phrase, "I claim," if you receive this affirmation. The Matrix doesn't want...
Comment "I claim" if you receive that affirmation.
Feeling stuck in fear and ready to step into a life of love? Paul Ferrini's Crossing the Threshold from Fear to Love is more than just a book. It's a journey through 31 powerful talks that guide you toward deeper self-acceptance and inner peace. Ferrini's voice delivers profound insights on releasing fear, embracing forgiveness, and awakening to your true self. Whether you're seeking healing or spiritual growth, these teachings can help you align with divine love every day. Ready to cross the threshold? Listen to Crossing the Threshold from Fear to Love on Audible and transform your life one talk at a time. Transform fear into love. Available on Audible, link in description.
All right, so I've read that book, and I used to listen to the audio when I was door dashing, and it did a lot for my self-esteem, especially when I was transitioning from jobs, and I had a lot going on in my life, but I used to listen to the audio, and it was amazing. Let me know if you read the book. If so, leave your thoughts in the comments. If not, I did put a link in the description so you can go check it out yourself.
Bro, God has his hand on you. When you don't think he has his hand on you, sorry, my horn won't come going off, but when you don't think God has his hand on you, he has his hand.
There's a study done by a Harvard scientist that took a group of men in their 70s and 80s to a monastery north of Harvard. She asked these men for 5 days to pretend that they were 22 years younger, thinking that way, acting that way, and feeling that way. And she put pictures of the Kennedy brothers and Marilyn Monroe and Nat King Cole and Cuban Missile Crisis and magazines, and reminded them of being 22 years younger. At the beginning of the study, she measured all these objective measurements, and they cut them loose for 5 days. The researchers said at the end of 5 days, she was playing touch football with these men without their canes. She brought them back into the lab, and she took all those objective measurements again. Finger lengths were longer, toe lengths were longer, some of them were taller. Their cognition improved by 60%, their range of motion changed. So the question is, who are you pretending to be, or who are you pretending not to be? Those men couldn't say, finger lengths get longer, toe lengths get longer, brain work better. They had to become that person.
Your mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. In a 2004 Harvard study, participants were split into 2 groups. One group was asked to only visualize themselves working out. No weights, no movement, just imagination. The other group performed actual physical exercises, and the results? They gained nearly as much strength as those who actually lifted weights, all because their minds believed it was real. Your mind is the ultimate creator. If it can transform your body through belief alone, imagine what else you could achieve. Start seeing your success. Feel it, believe it, because your mind will make it real. Remember, what you picture in your mind becomes your reality. Visualize.
Will animals be in heaven? Absolutely, yes. The question the Bible does not answer is, what about specific animals that we enjoy in this life? Will my dog be in heaven? I do not know, because the Bible never specifically answers the question. But the Bible affirms the value of animals' lives, because animals are part of God's good creation. Therefore, to abuse animals is wrong. To torture animals is wrong. Wrong because those are beings, animals, created by God, and they are part of God's good creation. Will animals be in heaven? Absolutely, yes. The question the
I
Bible...
hope there's dragons in heaven. I always wanted... always... Okay, I'm sorry. This is actually a whole another day of when I started making this video. I had to pause it because I had gotten into a conversation with my 18-year-old, and we got into a deep conversation about religion. And so a few years ago, you have to be careful about how deep you go into being religious, because you will get to a point where the world is contradicting your belief. I don't know if you ever heard of the term cognitive dissonance. Is when you're contradicting what you believe. So you can sit there and you know what the Bible is telling you what to do, how to live, how to be, but then you sin, and it's like it throws you off. He spent like this one summer trying to be so religious, and yet, and this is a young boy, and yet every bad thought or bad action just made him seem or feel worthless and traumatized. And he needed, and it's so important for me to teach my boys love. I preach love in my house. I preach love more than anything. I understand you want to, you want to know who God is, but it can sometimes get to a point where you're trying so hard to understand the word of God, to understand God and Jesus, that you can actually get mad at him when the world is contradicting your belief. When people, you watch the news, or you're doing things that you shouldn't do, and then you feel guilty, or you're dealing with people and you don't understand why people behave in the way they do. You can begin to be so upset or begin to hate God because you're like, God, I'm doing this, I'm praying, I'm reading my Bible, I don't understand why this is happening. So I love my son so much because of the way he's learning, and his maturity level is amazing. But I only say that I just wanted to tell y'all how very important it is just to make sure you focus on love. I always tell myself, when I pray and meditate, I'm a soul. I'm a soul. I was created with love. A soul created with love, to love and to be loved. And with that said, like, everything falls into place. Compassion, empathy, maturity. It's very focused. It's very important to go back sometimes and just focus on love. But we're going to continue with the video. I just wanted to express that because that was a really deep talk that I had with my son, and I love talking to him because his just maturity level just amazes me a lot of times. But let's get back to the videos.
After seeing this, never touching snow again?
So the paper towel was dry, or the rag was dry? What's happening? Leave a comment. What is happening? So the rag was dry? Or am I tripping? The rag was dry. Okay. Leave a comment.
Is it true your ex-wife have access to your bank account?
Yeah. I told you I trust her implicitly.
I beg your pardon?
Implicitly. I trust her. If she wanted to take it, she could. There's very few people that you meet where you can trust implicitly. And to be honest, she was there when we were living at the in-laws' house. She was there when we couldn't afford a hamburger. She was there through the grind. She, to me, just like we kind of separated when we started making it. So she doesn't get to enjoy any of that. To me, that's not right.
Wow. Hey,
I'm a loyalty guy.
You are a boy. You fall to the song for real. I don't know too many people showing
No, it surprises people. But she could have, if she wanted to do something with it, she could have done with it a long time ago.
If your ex-wife, is she married?
She's dating somebody, boyfriend.
And you cool with that?
Yeah. I want her to be happy. It's true.
But then she can't get no more access, Dave. She got to cut off, cut off, cut a little.
I won't even notice if it's gone.
You mean to tell me she might?
I mean, if she takes it all.
No. But she might take, like, you know what? I'm gonna have this extravagant wedding. I'm gonna spend, $500,000 on a wedding. You cool with?
Yes. 100%. 100%.
Lord have mercy. What did you learn during that marriage about yourself?
She's still my best friend. Like, we get along
better as friends than in a
yeah,
relationship.
but she was with me at the beginning of this company, and like, if she called me right now, it's like, I need you, I'd be there. It's like, we're it just didn't work as a marriage.
Okay.
Oh,
I know y'all gonna have something to say about this, but okay, I kind of agree with him, and I feel like it should go both ways, not just because he's the man, but I do like that idea. Like, hey, she went through the worst with me. She was there for me through all, whatever, for me to get to where I am today. But my question is, okay, so first of all, do y'all agree with this? And then how does that work? Is he married now? I don't know. But how does that work once he decides he's going to get married again and have a family? Like, is that going to work for the new wife? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comments. I want to hear what y'all have to say.
I'm going to prove to you that religion is compromising your moral judgment. I'm going to tell you two stories, and I want you to raise your hand after each story. The first story is this, and these two stories are morally equivalent. Suppose I were to break into somebody's home, this loving Christian family, mother, father, and children and pets. They go to church, they pray, they contribute to charity. They're really, really great people. And I tied them up, and I tortured them, and I drowned the cat in the bathtub, and I shoot the dog, and then I set the house on fire and kill all those people. And then the police asked me, Dan, why did you do that? And I would say, no reason. The devil made me do it. Raise your hands if you think I am a moral monster. Virtually every hand went up, right? Yeah, horrible, moral monster. How would he do? No reason. The devil made me do it. The second story was this. I got out my Bible and I opened the Bible to the book of Job. And you know what's coming. Remember how God tortured Job. He caused a wind to blow the building over. The wall crashed against those children, his children, his livestock and his animals. And it didn't say if he had a cat to drown, but he killed it all. And then God tortured Job with boils and horrible things that happened. If you want a magic bullet, by the way, that totally destroys Christianity in the Bible, you will find it in one Bible verse. It's the book of Job 2:3, the second chapter, verse 3. Let me read this to you. The Lord said unto Satan, have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a blameless and an upright man, that fears God. He turns away from evil, and still he holds fast his perfection. He holds fast his integrity. God said this to Satan, and then he said, although you moved me against him to destroy him without cause. So God, why did you do this to Job? No reason. The devil made me do it. So then I asked that audience, okay, raise your hands if you think the God of the Bible is a moral monster. Can you guess what happened? Less than half of the hands went up in that audience. Isn't that proof that religion compromises our moral judgment?
Yeah.
I'm going to prove to you
Y'all gotta
that
let me
religion
know
is
what y'all.
compromising.
Let me know y'all thoughts. I want to hear about this. Let me know.
Ay, güey, puta.
Poor thing. Oh.
Is this? Man, I swear everything's so fucking burnt out, G. Like, you can't hang out with all the guys because you don't know who the fuck is snake. Everything over sexualized nowadays. Nobody want to go do real fun shit. Everybody just want to sit around, drink and smoke and kill their kidneys and livers all day. They don't nobody want to go get no money. Don't nobody want to call me when it's time to make some money. They only want to call me when it's time to spend some fucking money. You feel me? Everybody being sluts. You know what I'm saying? Like damn, like everything balled the fuck up, folks. Like, and everything pisses me off. I ain't even gonna lie. Like, this is why I stay to my fucking soul. Cause I don't know what the fuck going on right now. Everybody just being weird as shit. No, I can't deal with that shit. Fuck no, nope.
you see the girl who took 34 days?
Nobody believed him, not the media, not the global elites, not even the Canadian Prime Minister who laughed off the warnings and lied to an entire country. But now they're all scrambling because President Trump didn't just expose China's secret economic collapse, he literally triggered a political earthquake. This earthquake just ripped right straight through Canada's ruling class, guys. This is huge. So you're about to see how a single truth bomb dropped by Trump and ignored by the world has now set off a massive Canadian uprising. So why is Canadians, furious with Mark Carney? That is the question that a lot of people are asking. Like, why would Canadians essentially be uprising against Mark Carney, right? Like, why are Alberta leaders all of a sudden flying to Mar-a-Lago? And more importantly, what does this have to do with China's silent economic implosion and a global realignment that's happening in real time? Well, guys, if you stay tuned, we're going to cover exactly what this means, and you're going to understand why Trump wasn't just right. He was like 10 steps ahead. In fact, now Canada is on the verge of a political revolt that nobody, and I mean nobody, saw this thing coming. So if you haven't already, hit the like button for the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's break it all down. And I also want to show you guys how Trump's China revelation just ignited a movement that is now reshaping North America. This is huge. All right, let's start with what everybody ignored until now, right? Now, from the very beginning, at least of his second term, President Trump, he sounded the alarm. China's economy was on the brink, and they were panicking behind closed doors. Now, if you let the media tell you, China was a lot more powerful than what Trump was saying, and the United States may have bitten off more than it could chew, according to the media. So instead of listening, the media mocked him. Global leaders dismissed him, and yet, while China was out publicly condemning the U.S., their top officials were secretly flying to Washington, D.C., begging and pleading for a backdoor deal. That's not speculation, guys. That was actually confirmed. In fact, let Larry Kudlow tell it, Trump let the cat out of the bag, but nobody listened. Crazy, right? He exposed what the world wasn't ready to admit. China's so-called economic strength, it was all smoke and mirrors. And the worst part, the Canadian leadership, including Mark Carney, they chose to ignore it. That silence is now coming back to haunt them. In fact, that silence is now coming back to bite them in the butt. But it gets even deeper than that, guys. So while the media was clinging to China's propaganda, Trump's team uncovered the real story. The deflation crisis, prices in China dropping at double-digit rates, riots. Oh, yeah, there were riots going on over there. Factory workers not getting paid, industries collapsing, disillusioned Gen Z movement. Guys, thousands of young Chinese opting out of society, calling themselves rat people. Nobody believed him.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to say this though. I feel like every country hide their economic information. Does that make sense? So I'm wondering if this is going to kind of bite America in the butt, because China's going to be like, okay, you show our hand, we're going to show yours, type of thing. I mean, is anybody surprised though that China, because I honestly believe that everybody is going through like an economic crisis right now. Were they hiding it, or was they just not telling us? You know what I mean? And then being in America, America had theirs all the time as well. So I don't know. I need to look more into this. I'm not that. If you had, just let me know what y'all think. I want to know your opinion on this topic. I don't know what how this going to turn out, or what this even mean, that we know, you know, what they're going through and that they're struggling over there, because I thought almost every country was going through the same thing. So I'm not shocked. I want to know, what does this actually mean though? Like, what does this mean? You know what I mean? What does this mean? So if you know more, leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts. I'd appreciate it, because I don't get what the big deal is. Was they like trying to act like they were like nothing was going on? And oh, we're doing so great type of things. I really don't understand the point of what's going on. Maybe I don't know. I need to read more on it, man. I don't know. I don't know. Just let me know your thoughts. Okay, guys, thanks for watching my video. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I love you. Bye.